I did watch that Kyle Shanahan. I don't want to say it was a press conference. It was more just people with cameras in his face
Hmm.
yesterday.
Hmm.
Um, I want to talk about a few things I thought were really interesting from that. For one, man, he loves Trey Lance, doesn't he? Like, I think it's pretty clear and obvious who Kyle Shanahan favors, who picked out Trey Lance, and why he did it. And I
Oh yeah, I
think,
talk to Trey every day. Jimmy, nah, he doesn't return my calls. Okay, all right, yeah,
well, and the funny part about that, Grant, is someone specifically asked him if he does talk to Jimmy. And with the Trey thing, when he mentioned that he talks to him, that was completely unprompted. He
yes.
did not get asked that question. He's like, oh yeah, Trey Lance. We talk every single day. You know, he's down in Orange County right now. He's working out with Ayuk last week. He's
Hmm.
keeping tabs on Trey Lance. So I think when you look at all the language Kyle Shanahan's using around Trey Lance right now, it's pretty clear and obvious who he favors and why he probably wanted to start Trey even last year. But the one comment I really focused on, I thought was one of the more revealing ones, was how he talked about Aaron Banks.
Mm.
I don't know if you caught that bit of what he said, but basically he mentioned that 3-5 point in the season right after week 8, when all of us were looking at the team like, hey, are you guys going to start Trey Lance? Are you going to start Aaron Banks? What about Ambry Thomas? And Kyle was pretty honest yesterday, and he said we really considered putting in Banks, and that was a big part of their consideration. Now, I don't know how much I believe him on that, Grant, because like we've seen with Kyle before, he can fib a lot, right? But
Yeah.
I think the important takeaway is that there was certainly a world of difference from when the team was trending downwards to the latter part of the season, and that they were actually considering putting in those rookies. And I think we all kind of had this idea all along that, are they redshirting a lot of these guys? They want to keep a lot of these guys for next year, give veterans the opportunity, quote unquote, like a last dance sort of thing, going all out, revenge tour 2.0, like we've all talked about. I think it's pretty obvious the team had that same idea that we thought they were going to have, which is they wanted to build last year's draft for this year and for the future. And that was their plan all along.
What's crazy to me is like, so last year they were planning for the future. And then this year, they're also planning for the future. Like everyone's like, free agency this year? No, 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 next year. So really, they've been on when they drafted Trey Lance, what they were doing was punting 2 seasons, not tanking
Oh,
two
definitely.
seasons, but punting 2 seasons. The difference is, hey, we'll compete. You know what I'm saying? We'll continue to do business as usual, but we're not going to make any special moves to go over the top the way they did in 2019. 3 moves they did in 2019. None of them. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and like we've seen, like you just said, they have gone all in. We've seen them
they
do
did
it
it in
before.
2019.
They do.
They did it.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
did
I
it.
mean, they traded a second round pick for D Ford and extended him. Quan Alexander. I
And
mean,
then traded for Emmanuel Sanders when they were like 7-0.
exactly. They actually went all in. So there was
Yeah.
definitely a willingness on their part to
If they
do it. And
think
I
that
think
they have a window, they'll go for it. And they're telling us that they like, we made it this far, but we easily could have not even made the playoffs. Like, we're just going to be slow and sense. We may not make the playoffs next year. I mean, that's kind of their attitude right now. But in 2023 or maybe 2024, we're going to be really good.
that's just a ridiculous plan because
It's
uh,
Jed's fault. Every
oh, it
other
is.
owner has like put some pressure on their coaches, and Kyle's like, I'm signed through 2026, so by 2025, I promise, right when it's time to get my next extension, we're going to be loaded. But not until then.
And
Not
Jed, I
until then.
don't know if you saw, but he had some comments that are going around on Twitter right now where he compared the situation they're in now to the situation his uncle was in with Joe. And yeah, he straight up was like, hey, um, Steve sat behind Joe. Steve was a Hall of Famer, doing this whole thing like, hey, if Steve could do it, why can't
Oh, wow. Well, dude, what they're essentially going to do if they don't cut Jimmy Garoppolo is pay $27 million for another year of him starting or him being a backup so they can get a comp pick. 27 million for like the 104th pick in the draft for the next Ambry Thomas. 27 million. Go get him. Go get him. Good call,
But
man.
that's like
Go ahead.
That's like
Go
a
ahead.
crazy mindset though, Grant. Like they drafted Trey Lance, and I just wanted to end like on this point overall. I know I've said it so many times, man, but it's really like legitimately crazy to me that the whole point of drafting Trey Lance is to save money in the present so that you can build a contender around him. If you look at the way teams build contenders now, it's not by having a bridge quarterback waiting until the rookie quarterback is good enough to extend him and then building around him. That doesn't work because you're paying the guy $40 million if he's that good. But the whole point of what teams are doing now is getting that X factor at the quarterback because you're paying Trey Lance right now $8 million a year. It is the ultimate X factor. And instead of being like, hey, we're going to exploit this, we're going to use this to our advantage, Jed's like, hey, man,
It's
we got
wasted.
home games in the playoffs. We're
Yeah.
selling, we're selling out home games more. Look at us versus a few years ago. We're selling out games. I'm making money. Fans aren't pissed at me anymore. It's going well.
He's acting like they're recreating what the Patriots did with Brady and Garoppolo. Garoppolo was on the bench for 3.5 years. The difference is Garoppolo was a second round pick. So there was no they didn't spend 3 years worth of first round picks to say he is the future. They drafted lots of quarterbacks in New England. They drafted Ryan Mallett. He was just the latest guy they tried. They had him on the bench for a long time. Plus, they had Tom freaking Brady, the greatest quarterback of his era, maybe ever. So, it was fair to sit a late second round pick behind Brady for a while. This is a whole different thing. Jimmy isn't Brady. Trey's supposed to be the future and the present. Enough of this. Ben, good call.
All right.
I'll
Peace
see you
out,
around.
Grant. Have a good
Take
day,
care.
man.
Peace. Let me get AK-49. He's been waiting hella long, man. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, buddy? I'm
Good to
doing.
see you, dude. What's up?
Sorry, I'm also working at the same time while talking to you.
Oh, okay.
So, remember our conversation our call a few weeks back when I said that guys like Mariota, Dalton, Winston, Trubisky would all get signed before Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
Look what happened. All of them got signed before Jimmy.
I mean, even Dalton got signed, right?
Man,
He's on the Saints. Like, if that's the kind of backup you want, you don't need to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. The Niners are going to have a $27 million backup while the Saints have Andy Dalton, who's the same thing for way cheaper. Same thing.
it's crazy. Man, it's crazy. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, it's the fact that they're willing to keep Jimmy so long. He may end up being the highest ever paid backup at $27 million.
Yeah. Yeah. All because Jed York and his parents love to make dreams come true.
Man,
like
if you think that Jimmy's even going to fetch a 7th round pick in 2024, you must be dreaming. And also, remember when Lynch said he got offers of 2 second rounders for Jimmy?
Yeah.
You remember saying that? It probably was true. It probably was true that Lynch did get a 2nd round offer, but under the condition that we had to eat at least half the salary.
He apparently had a 2nd round offer for Jimmy last year, and he thought that Jimmy playing another season would make that offer go up, but it didn't. He got hurt again.
Yeah, and he was who he was.
He was who he was.
Yeah, just throw over the, all he could do is throw over the middle and then not even be passionate about the sport. And I believe what Kyle said about how he's been speaking more with Trey and barely to Jimmy. And I believe it was like that last season too. I don't know if you noticed about Trey, but he sounds a lot like Kyle when you hear him talking. Like, for example, like I saw a couple of Trey's press conferences and he'd always start like, very similar mannerisms to Kyle. Watch again.
Speech patterns, yeah. Interesting.
You could tell Trey's been spending a lot of time around him.
Absolutely. And Trey seems like the kind of guy who is like Kyle. Like, they're grinders. They love the sport. They want to talk about it. They want to think about it most of the day. Jimmy, I don't think he's like that at all. I think he feels like I'm a natural. I've gotten $110 million doing what I do. Why would anyone ask me to do it differently? I'm tired of that's not the kind. And I'm with Kyle on that. Like, dude, I need someone who wants to work. Do you want to work? Trey wants to work. And I think that's the issue. Like, they love Trey. They love the idea of Trey. He's a great guy. He works hard. They still don't know. You know what I mean? There's still an unknown there. Can you convert 3rd downs? Can you read the field? Are you accurate? They love him. They don't particularly like Jimmy Garoppolo. Kyle doesn't particularly like Jimmy. He loves Trey Lance, but that's different than actually trusting him. You know what I mean?
All Trey has to do is
her on the side for a lot of reasons, but are you willing to make her the main? Are you sure? You know what I'm saying?
But all Trey's got to do is be better than Jimmy. Do you think he can at least
being better than Jimmy
touchdowns and just
being better than Jimmy?
I agree.
Being better than Jimmy.
That ain't asking for too much, basically. If he could just be better than Jimmy, I think we can go all the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying if the Niners look in 2020, they had a disaster season. People all blame it on Nick Mullins, but the issue was the offensive line. Jimmy got hurt right away. Then Mullins eventually got hurt too. No quarterback was going to succeed behind that offensive line except maybe Tom Brady. And what have they done this year? You know, if Alex Mack comes back, good. But Tomlinson's gone. McGlinchey isn't even good if he plays. I mean, I'm concerned about the offensive line. They might go through quarterbacks again like it's 2020. Anyway, that's my concern, the offensive line. I got to take more calls, though, man. Thanks for calling in.